I'm going to wait till we have at least a couple people here. I'm kind of glad that I included Nemo, though. Someone did me wrong. But I'm kind of glad that I included because I'm going to find it. This is going to be a good one, folks. I know I feel that about most of mine. There's always goodness, things to like, but this is going to be a extra good and special one about somebody who's extra good and special. So, that said, oh, oh. I don't want to wait too long. I don't have like hours um, to roll at the moment, but I'm not exactly rushed either. So, um, and I didn't want to get too deep before napping. What I've seen so far, I mean, it was deep, but I'm probably able to nap just fine. Um, but without too much thought provoking or anything to think about. But at the same time, that's what I'm about here. That's what I'm about here, and that's why I love here. And I know, I guess I'll say it, nobody here at the moment while I say it, but, there might be people that think he wears the same thing every time. Oh, if I'm not going, this is my around the house stuff. I mean, it's not the only thing I wear around the house, and I really think that this shirt is great for podcasting. I like the message on it. And it's also great because even, when people are noticing it, and especially when it reads properly, like it does on the laptop, I guess, but I didn't have that handy at the moment. When, if people are multitasking and listening to what I'm saying or playing and reading my shirt, they're getting more bang for the buck, so to speak. It's not all about the money, and that's not what I'll take donations, but that's not what this is about. This is a very powerful video that I mean, again, it's not that others that I do aren't, but, I think about some of the stuff I see on YouTube. There is a lot of great stuff, whether it's music talent, people that are just hanging out and having good conversation. Um, I mean, there's so much. There's also a lot of crap, in my opinion, too. But this isn't that, just so you know. But I was scrolling through the live streams. I almost couldn't figure out how to do it in the way I did it because it seems hit and miss. And I came across this girl about maybe late 20s, mid to late 20s, I would guess. And there was something about her, truth be told, yeah, she was kind of pretty, but there was something about her energy that I just instantly loved. I mean, I do and don't feel like that's a rare quality with people. Um, and that's how the next part came up. I says to her, I says, you seem like you're very happy. I try to be, but sometimes struggle with depression. And she jumped right on that. She said something about when she had kids, but it sounded like not only did she care, not only did, from what I gathered, it seemed like for her that meant as a disciple of God, as a follower of God, call to action perhaps, also just simply a good person, I would say. And like I say, possibly related to it. I'm just going to turn this light on for a moment. I think, trying to think, what was the first thing she did? She said something about, she made sure that I knew that it was my comment that she was referring to, although it wasn't really the main topic. She was just kind of sitting chatting. And she says, it'd be really funny if she wrapped up. Maybe she'd been rolling for a while and wanted to think or whatever, and remembered that I told her how she could, get here. Maybe she's watching now for all I know. But anyway, the point of the matter is I don't remember a lot that was said. I definitely think I should rewatch it back. Whether there's a lot that came before it or not. But one of the powerful things that she said was that even if it's hard, you know, um, even if only in the short term you can say, I want to be joyful. I want to be thankful and happy. I mean, we all want those things. It's true. Um, and then she actually had mentioned something about how she wanted to get up and dance. She's like, and you're still here, let's dance. But then she didn't until it turned out, maybe she did afterwards, but I just, and then she said, I want to take the time and I want to see these comments. And I mean, I was not sounding, you know, I mean, yes, it can lead to that for a lot of people, but I wasn't saying like I'm minutes away from jumping over the bridge kind of thing. But, you know, I have 4 people here right now, and maybe you're saying you might not be saying it, but I am. And now there's 2, and I know it's a deep topic, and we can feel the feels and talk about it. But it was kind of like, it is a serious topic. It is a topic that needs to be talked about, that shouldn't be taboo. And you know, and then, you know, as I mentioned, she's religious, but she didn't focus on that super strongly, I would say. I did say something about God or whatever works or whatever, mentioned being agnostic, and I said a little something else about me. It wasn't much after that, it's true, that she did say a prayer. I have not really went to church in a long time. I went to church with a famous family at one point in time. And I remember one thing we used to do, somewhat ironic culture, but one thing we used to do is kind of go around, and if anybody wanted to ask for prayers, you know, for anything, you know, it's not meant to be a religious thing, and I mean, I don't really talk much about religion, but I feel we can if we do it respectfully, like with anything else. Anywho, so basically, and you'd go around, if you wanted to ask for a prayer for yourself or for someone, you could. I always felt a little bit selfish when it was for self. It wasn't always. I seem to remember something about a group prayer once that I was involved in, but it's like long ago, far away. But, you know, I'm the kind of person that, you know, if that's the approach that somebody wants to take, and like I say, it wasn't her only approach, you know, there's a thoughtfulness in it. So, I mean, you know, I'm thankful. And so, yes, I feel like, you know, if there's stuff that we don't like on the internet, that we can just kind of find the stuff we do like instead, or scroll on. We don't necessarily have to, you know, I mean, maybe we'll talk about it in our in-person interactions or whatever, but we don't have to go out of our way to, like, gossip or ridicule, I guess is what I'm saying. Like, I mean, I remember there was one lady in a chat thing that I was in on a live stream, and she said something about, you know, not liking people who trash talk guys on his back, but then she kind of went and did it. And, like, she's in her 50s or 60s, I think, so she's no better. Anywho, but part of the matter is that I'm saying good things about this person. And anybody else that I mentioned that I've come across on here, you know, like, I mean, they might be happy with the size audience that they have, or, you know, just how their videos do in general. But I think it's really important sometimes that language gets me lately. It's like, you think, or do you know? Well, I know in this case that if somebody is, you know, being of such greatness, especially if they seem underheard, but kind of just in general, the world needs to know about it. You know, I think that we need to cover up all the darkness and the bad and the sad stuff of the world, not necessarily shrug it off and pretend it doesn't exist, but with the light and the goodness and the glory and the dancing and the love and all that stuff, right? So no, I was just very touched by that. I was just very touched that she, you know, she seemed like the kind of person like me who takes the time to chat with her commenters and get to know them or whatever. And again, when you have a personal experience, you know, with something, like, part of me feels like, no offense to people with degrees, but, you know, a lot of us, I've heard it twice already today, aside from probably thinking it myself anyway, that life is the greatest way of getting experience. Just living life and the things that, you go through. Um, like if I think of the counseling professions, for instance, again, I'm not going to say everybody, but I do think that a lot of them are in it for the money. And they don't have the empathy. They don't really have the lived experience. Sure, they may talk to lots of people who have, but I guess they don't filter it the same way. I guess that's maybe what I'm saying. Um, some of them, I sort of want to bring this in there and do this out, bring this out there. I don't know if I'm going to go too much longer, honestly, but sorry, they're both almost empty, but I want them both. Yeah, I'll come out to the living room and not drop a knife on my foot, and all will be good. So yeah, her name is Nigerian, I believe, Nengi Willi, and I welcome you to check her out. Oh, I should probably mention. Oh yeah, so and so told me. You don't have to say it was on here because like I say, it comes up in conversation sometimes, right? For a long time, I have. That's one of the things this channel is about, really. It's about wellness, it's about uplifting, it's about supporting each other, whether we're going through struggles, in general, or with mental health. And, whoops, sorry. And a while ago, I got this plugged in as well. A while ago, or not that long ago, actually, I had the idea of, and I did kind of recently achieve this, I feel like, and probably more times than I'm, actually definitely more times than I'm realizing, and they're like, person I didn't stick around, they're like, get to the point. I really wish this was designed better, this thing. But there's two of you here to hear the point, and what is the point? The point is, what is the point of life? What is the point to being here and getting through what we have to go through sometimes? This is on the spot, just so you know. But I think the two people that were just here just left. And the like button. I really think that I'm really speaking quite well of this, and I think that maybe it's just not sticking. I don't know. Sometimes there's a glitch. I would welcome you to come into the comments, join the conversation, love and kindness. But yes. When I think about that video that I just watched, I feel like there was something even more that I was meant to get from what I saw while I was there. What I heard, what I even put forth in the conversation. And maybe later I'll go and edit the title more specifically, but at the same time, part of me thinks, this is still a general to whoever needs or chooses to hear it, watch it, like it, subscribe to it, comment, kind of thing. When I think of this particular individual, I could be wrong, but if she currently lives where she lives, yes, dancing and music is very much a part of, it's a part of a lot of cultures, but why I think maybe it stands out in African cultures and stuff is because, and I'm not great at geography, but I believe Nigeria is an African culture. Anyway, not meaning to be rude or anything to anybody, but it's maybe because they still struggle with poverty a lot. But yet, they still dance, they still sing, they still smile. So, this person who's quite young has probably been through a lot of stuff. But also, too, I would say, there are just people with really good hearts out there, and we should all aim for that. We might not, be able to be that way every waking hour of our existence. Some people might, though. But I think we should be aiming for it. Uh, and I don't know. I even thought to say to myself, it's been a long time since I've met some or came in contact with somebody as nice as that, other than myself. Which I don't fully feel like that. There are a lot of nice people out there. It's true, but I kind of do. I mean, I don't know. I came out back from being out with our dog, having a pretty good day. I think it was last night. My spouse said, "Oh, it doesn't work tomorrow." So we been around each other. Didn't do a lot of music with each other. I did a podcast. It was a bit quiet, but whatever. And it's the sun's been shining. The sky is blue. It's a bit cold and windy, and if it wasn't for the wind, it would actually be really nice and very seasonably nice for this time of year. But anywho, I don't want this to shave off, and I do have to get going shortly here. Not super shortly, but kind of shortly. But I feel like if you've made it this far, or just tuned in this far, I haven't been rolling super long. I try and make content that anybody who comes across it will enjoy. I'm very diverse. I try to cater it a little bit, to the audience, and I don't know if there's a different way to say it, but and like that, or you came back. I mean, why wouldn't you? Because that speaks to not everybody, but almost everybody. But when I think, like I say, back to that podcast I was watching, and I think about what came up kind of randomly. I mean, I don't think it was because she mentioned religion. I've been hearing all kinds of people talk about the feminine energy and the masculine energy, and people have different beliefs, this and that, and different experiences and life cycles and this and that they go through in that boop boop. But the topic of non-binary came up. It did, and it seemed like it was not long after that she prayed, said a prayer, and I think I heard all of it, but it wasn't anything around, I hope that you can just accept yourself as God already made you, or anything like that, and so I do sometimes talk about this kind of stuff, and it's not just for the community, and we all know people, have loved ones and friends that this might relate to as well, but I think that's going to be the focus of this, while I kind of round it off. And it's not an hour and 44 minutes in, but so I got some of this stuff on my finger, and then I touched my nose, so it's I'm kind of nosing it. But yeah, I think that's what I'm gonna I don't know how I'm doing this, bringing this on the spot, but I think that's what I'm gonna focus on now, because I feel like, and I hope people will be honest about that, as far as if this relates to them. I feel like it will relate to some people that will see this. Always a possibility, but again, I'm going to try and keep this shorter, and I'm getting that feeling stronger. We all have people that we will relate to in life. Some more than others. This is true. We aren't necessarily going to gel with everybody. We can be kind to everybody. We can hope well for everybody. But we're not necessarily going to gel with everybody. But I think with those other two things, it's more likely that with most people that cross our path, we will. And so 1 to 3, and glad to have you all here. I haven't been rolling super long, and a little bit longer. And basically, but so in saying that previous statement, I know that there will be people who relate to things that I've experienced as well, who relate to me as a person. And some of this stuff I relate with more than others, but I'm just going to take a moment and pick something up off the floor here and then pick you up, lift you up. Because, I'm not trying to upstage Nengi, but I have similarities to her. I've watched a couple good podcasts today, actually. But yeah, I have similarities to her, and I know that that's what I'm about too. That's what my channel's about too, and being a similar kind of soul. If you're also of light and healing, or want to be, then you're in the right place. Again, but maybe if I get it all off my chest and hopefully have no additional thoughts after for now, I'll be able to have a nice nap. I kind of feel like I want to put a light on in here. It's darker in the room than it seems to be on screen. I think I will, because this is going to be a message, winging it, true, of light and healing, because that's what it's about. And some people may hear that religiously. It doesn't necessarily mean that, but it doesn't necessarily not either. You know what I mean? So, all that said, let's hop into it for a few moments here. I don't want to get rid of everything. And let's just, I'm winging this, okay? It's not really a prayer, but it might come across sounding like that, a meditation, whatever you want to call it. And I'm going to list off a bunch of things. So if something doesn't apply to you, pay attention to the next thing. It might, kind of thing, okay? I'm just winging this, like I say. You are someone who has experienced a lot of trauma. You are someone who struggles with mental health. You are someone who is trying to figure out yourself, trying to figure out the world, trying to figure out your place in it. Poetic? Maybe, kind of, eh? The two people left, I think, just before I started. It's like, no, I don't think I'm going to relate to this kind of person in a hat and a purple shirt. I'm just kidding. You are someone who loves diversity. You are someone who has overcome adversity. You are someone who is still trying. You are someone who is living, not dying. You are someone who wakes up with breath every day to see the sun and the good things that come your way. You may struggle with depression, but you can find laughter. You may struggle with grief unless you believe in the afterlife. It can help. You may struggle with belonging or finding your purpose. I know you're in pain and you do not deserve this. But you can get through it. I know you will. You're strong. You're talented and very skilled. You may say that you're not like other men. You may say that you're not like other women. You may say you're like both in the various ways that means, and that's okay. Whether you are straight, trans, non-binary, or gay. You want to do good in the world and know that you do. So you just got to keep trying and just keep pushing through. I'm making a poem up on the spot. Feel free to add, well, yeah. I kind of like what I have so far, and it's concise, and it's to the point. So try to decide if there's anything else I want to put in this. Or if I want to go back to that, see if she's still rolling, or who else I might, what other lovely person I might discover on here. But maybe just a little bit more. Okay. Um, on the spot, winging it, like I say. Uh, you are someone who can choose to see beauty. You are someone who can laugh. You are someone who deserves to smile. It's not all about your past. And your past wasn't all bad. And your present may be mediocre. That was a bad word to choose to rhyme with, right? But let me try. Just don't spend all your money just playing poker. Is there any other rhymes for it? Yeah. Toker. Stoker. Anyway. And if you're woke, then you're woker. I don't know. So that's what the message is, folks. That's what it is. It's about growing as a person and accepting yourself and accepting others and being kind and being loving and being strong and persevering. Um, you know, easier said than done sometimes. And again, we all should be aiming to bring greatness to others as well as ourselves. So, I mean, but yeah, basically, that's what it's all about, folks. I mean, you won't easily get through life if you're not loving, kind, and strong. If you're not being your authentic self, um, you know, you'll have struggles. So, anyway, of course, some of this stuff is quite deep topics, but I think that in about 26, 28-ish minutes, I have, I put it into a um, nice little video. I mean, that's what this is, right? For you. And it's maybe better that this has been a bit quieter because, again, not that I'm against comments, and I mean, we all have to sleep pretty much every day. But perhaps if there was a lot to process, I mean, other than what I'm saying, it might be a bit hard for me, like, because I'm planning to sleep not long after this. But, I do welcome you to comment, and I'm going to be, okay, and you left. And some of the gold gem moments, whatever you want to call this, there wasn't anybody currently here, um, and I feel bad wrapping up when there is somebody that's here, and I feel like, and I haven't been okay. I was gonna say, I was gonna say, I was gonna say, I was gonna say, what maybe doesn't need to be said. Maybe I've said enough for now. But there's a feeling I get when I look to the west. There's a feeling I'm getting right now that's telling me to wait. That's telling me to wait and to keep talking. Which isn't a feeling, I mean, it kind of naturally happens sometimes, and sometimes it shows that it's true. But for some reason, there's a feeling right now that's telling me those things. Because somebody is going to tune in who really needs to have somebody hear them, support them, show them the kindness that maybe they've been not experiencing in their life, possibly even two people. And that's what I'm about, folks. That's what I'm about. There are different types of podcasts, and many of them are valid. But then there are like I don't want to say all games are bad, but there are like stuff, or there's like aggressive stuff, or there's this is your sanctuary. You know, this channel is where you can come to chat and hear music and find support. Truly. Um, and sure, maybe it's just my desire. And did I have an experience like that recently? Yeah, I could say with my friend Jackie. But I've also had other people enjoy what I put out there. And I only know what I know. So I don't even know to the extent. I had a guy watching me for about maybe, well, I don't know exactly how long, but probably about 5 or 10 minutes the other day, and he said he was going to sub to me. I think he also said God bless. So I don't know if he felt like I needed God or if there was something else. There was something else that resonated for him, I guess. Um, and it truly is lovely, to be, when you build a sense of community, even online and on YouTube, it's like, and you get to know people and you get to relate to people. Um, if I was to wrap this up now and people were to see it afterwards that didn't see it live, would be most of them, I do feel like I've gotten my message across. I've gotten my point across. I do. And then if people want to go deeper on any of it, we can. I'm mostly fine doing so. So the question is, not knowing the two people that just tuned in, have been okay, you both left, so maybe I don't want to know you anyway. I'm just kidding. Or maybe your phone died. Or you're like, I'm ready to settle in and watch this, and then the kid needed something, or the pet needed something, or whatever. You're needed. Let's just speak about that for a moment. When I mentioned earlier that I have been thinking about doing this in a way that I've not really done before, and this is kind of like that, especially with the poetry aspect. What I wanted to do, please try and feel the feels, sit through this, and I know that the person just left that came like 5-10 seconds prior to this, but what I wanted to try and do, like there's a theater exercise, or like I don't know if it's improv, we really should do something like that, but there's a thing where I can't remember what it's called or what the main purpose is, but they say that the eyes are the windows to the soul. One person donated money to me because they thought I had angelic eyes, so take a good look. Anywho, but they say that eyes are the windows to the soul. Now, I guess this is kind of a one-sided exercise, since, well, first of all, there's nobody watching right now. Second of all, I can't see your eyes, right? But still, you can participate along with me. And I guess this is more of a message for people that tune in afterwards, because that introduction was not heard by anyone while live. So, I'm not going to make it super obvious, but I'm going to look at you person to person. I mean, sure, I've been doing that this whole time. And part of me thinks, you know what? I said it fine. I made it poetic. I made it heartfelt. I don't need to say anything else. And honestly, if people need more uplifting and laughter and joy and music, you can check out my other live streams, That works too. As much as you can, even of the long ones. It's fine. Some are better than others. Some take a bit more time to kind of get into the groove of. But, and truth be told, I am kind of tired. So, and again, part of me is trying to sit here and just and figure out, am I being told to not wrap up yet because I want to comment, I want to reach somebody directly in this moment that I'm doing this? After's fine too, but is it angels? Is it someone's loved one that's trying to nudge me to stay, because they're trying to get them to find this video, because they need to hear something? Or is it, I don't know. And I think I was watching that one for about 15 minutes. It was the first one, I think. Add 15 minutes to that. He's been doing his thing for almost an hour, so I have to get on to other things shortly. But I do feel like I've been rolling for about 35 minutes, okay? And, okay. And that it may have been, it may not have been. But it feels like this is something that's meant to transpire live. So I'll wait. At least a little longer. I'm just going to go check something in the other room here and put these there too, I guess. Maybe what I'll do for a moment is a kind of like what I'm kind of feeling at this moment is what I think I'll do is a bit of a collective. So this might be close to an hour anyway, but whatever. A collective kind of thing, meaning not necessarily about anybody specific loved one or situation, but just kind of. I want to take another one right away. I don't have these extras, right? That's interesting. This is very interesting what's occurring here. I have a bit of a sore back right now. And I took one of these, I think about 45 minutes, almost an hour ago. Again, I mentioned I want to have a lay down shortly. And I'm still feeling a little sore, and I'm trying to figure out if I should take another one. And this particular brand, it does not say the strength on the top, it just says it's a value size. You have value. Minor pain. That makes me think that maybe it's not extra strength, because you wouldn't need extra strength for minor pain. But I'm also not seeing it. The label is very big, very clear for this kind of thing. It even has a special thing, I guess because there's been talk about that, and there's been things in the news, but I don't remember exactly the details. But it also says something about your liver health. First off, 39 minutes in. Most of us have loved ones that have passed away. If you don't, you will eventually, and you should know this. You need to know that they are happy, that they are okay. But they want you happy too. And they do put you in places or in contact with people that you're meant to be in touch with. All the loved ones that I have in heaven, it wasn't until one that passed away in January. And I mean, honestly, truly, well, there's one thing on the 29th I'm going to try to get to, but the other 3 upcoming things I have planned so far are all involved at the same agency. And one day it dawned on me that this loved one was involving me there. You know, whether I currently have this health issue or just very likely to get it, from the other side, I believe that she has been, you know, making it just a very kind of natural place to be. And I mean, there's been a couple of hiccups at the hand, but to be and to slowly be making connections and, you know, being involved in different things. We're going to go to another pipe ceremony. And I think that was just that we saw. You know, meals and connections and all this and that. What a gift. What a gift from someone who I saw once or twice every week at the club that she worked at, who I knew online, who I hung out with a few times in person, and who was very special to me. Our angels can do that kind of thing. So even if you don't feel like you're in the place you'd like to be at in your life, know that they're working on it, and know that even in small ways you are. Try and see the good. Now the fact that this, I've been focusing so much on this right now, makes me think, you know what, go for plant medicine. Go for muscle rubs or, you know, rubs. And as far as if it's mental health that's causing you to, again, this may not apply to you, but if it doesn't, please hear me out. I'm almost wrapping this up, and something I think that I'm going to say will be meant for you to hear. Like, but maybe like, okay, I'll come watch this later, because yes, I mean, I get the sense that there's something I'm meant to hear too, but I gotta go right now. So, could have been. Either way, I'll say this anyway because it's not that far in, and I feel like I'm meant to. And it's interesting too, something else I've never noticed on a bottle, but I don't look at a lot of pill bottles, is that there are two things highlighted, both the same thing. Active ingredients, okay, English and French. So I feel like there's two more things I have to highlight. I think, aside from these other two things, which, even if you're not, maybe I'm looking too much into this particular mention, and maybe, or maybe it's this, but also other. Like, I mean, it even mentions our own city. But it also says Mississauga, Ontario, and Argentia Road, which makes me think of Argentina. So if you're from Mississauga, Ontario, Argentina, but really anywhere, you're JP whistling. And it's not because he finds somebody attractive. It's not because somebody else is whistling along to whistle with. It is because it's like, you're doing a great job. You're doing a great job, even though it doesn't look like you're reaching anybody with this particular video that you're doing while you're doing it. It is helping you focus a little bit, but I know how much you have ADHD and you can multi-focus, and it's fine. But please make this speech. Please make this speech. My friend's soul is telling me that although they can hear it in various ways and from various people, and although heaven is a beautiful place, what they all truly do regret or miss most about life, even though being with us in a different way from the beyond, is actually physically being with us. The ability to make physical connections, friendships, romantic, is actually quite a special thing, and quite a lovely thing, and a beautiful thing in life. And, well, when you pass away, you don't have that. Not in the same way, right? So he's saying, just take a moment. Take a moment and see what rolls out. He said, You probably should wrap up soon. But you're right, there's two things you're meant to highlight. No pressure. Just do what feels natural. Do what flows out. You said you have a great way of words, with words, and since I know you're gonna do it with love, so do it. Get to it. Chop chop. Kind of thing. It was almost like I was doing that. What's that thing where you channel with an object? It's interesting because it's something I'm still working on learning in some of these ways. But there is, I think, something important about this object right now. And that's not to say that if you need one every day or every 2 days, a Tylenol, Advil, or the like, go for it. And there's still quite a few in this. This is, like I say, a value size, so I would hate to waste them. But I know it's not my favorite color either, but what can you do? If you're taking something like this for physical pain, again, there are rubs, there's massage therapy, there's physiotherapy, there's hugs, there's cuddling with an animal, there's plant-based therapy. I'm not going to say don't do this stuff, but I'm going to say be careful. If you're someone or someone you know or loved is overdosing or swallowing, I know that this will trigger you because I went that a moment. Going wild with these. If that's you, I need you to stop right now. I need you to put that bottle down. I need you to realize sometimes I can't believe how powerful I come across. I know that I'm a very loving person and very caring, and I know I want to heal the world as much as I can. But it is unfortunate that, who knows though, somebody may see this afterwards and say, you know what, I liked it from beginning to end, even if it was almost an hour long, and whatever else great things they might say. I mean, so it's worth it, hopefully. And who knows? Maybe I'll think of someone and you might as well feel like needs to see this, and that's how it gets, found. But basically, and there might be somebody on the other sitting there thinking, okay, you know what? You better get to it soon because I'm ready to take the next handful. I did not think I was going to talk about this. I was feeling pretty good, and I do feel pretty good being able to try and help. Again, you need to put them down. In fact, I don't want to say you necessarily need to... I don't know. You just need to not focus on them. You need to focus on what makes you laugh, what brings you joy. The internet is a vast thing. If you don't have that in your life, look it up. Experience it online. Hug yourself if you need a hug and have no one else that gives it to you. It may seem weird, but if you need it, you need it. Know that you have value. Know that you're strong. And if you've been doing this for a while, you probably will need detox. And I have a video actually with the siblings about for those that are in wards or hospice. They're not always healing places. They're not always a place where everybody that's there is having the same journey. Because we can all have so many similarities, but we also have our own journey. And some people want the help, some don't. If you worry about that, I guess I'd suggest again, go back to the internet. Look up how do I detox and watch content online. I don't take those a lot, but I don't know why. My chest just feels funny right now. The backs of my upper back, where my shoulders kind of feel sore. But again, I do have a sore back. But anyway, um, I am doing this video because somebody needs it. It started off with something I related to, an experience that I'd had with somebody, and the kind of experience we can all give each other just by being a good person. So I wish you love and wellness and kindness, and I hope you subscribe, hit the notification bell, hit the like, comment, and we'll talk to you again sometime, hopefully very soon. I post every day, pretty much, sometimes 2 or 3 times a day, sometimes just once, and say quite diverse, so I'm sure there's something for you. I'm sure there's something that you'd like. I don't want to say I'm speaking to everybody because I know that there are some people that I'd probably rather not speak to, but I would say I'm speaking to almost everybody. So, take care.